you realize that the chief official, actually they were young men, and this is what I say, like, if you read the book of Jeremiah, at the end of it, there were about 4,600 people that were taken from, during that time, that were taken by King Nebuchadnezzar. But these 4 boys, when the chief, the person that was working for Nebuchadnezzar was told to go find young men, he finds that these young boys were handsome. They had the wisdom that no one had. And the reason why these young boys had that is because they knew who God was. In their name, they knew who they worshiped. Not everybody. I mean, there were 4,600 people, or 4,600 people. You wonder, okay, well, what happened to about other people? So when you know your God, there's something about you that can be around like any other person. You can now be the same person of the world, and somebody identify you to be the person of God. So you see, when these boys arrived in Babylon, I'm sorry, I have to be drinking water here. I'm not like Pastor. You see, when this boy arrived in Babylon, the first thing that King Nebuchadnezzar orders his chief guest was, they have to change their names. Why was that? It's because King Nebuchadnezzar, in the Old Testament, you learn, if you read the book of Genesis, you learn that people, from their names, you knew who you worshiped. During the clan of Seth, and if you read that, in your name, that's where your God was. That's who you worship. So King Nebuchadnezzar had acquired these people, not knowing that it was God's powers for him to go to Judah to get these boys. So he decided, well, the first thing I'll do is change their names. He changed their names. He gives them the new names, and this is the Chaldeans' names, because he wanted to use them for his own purposes. Not only did he change his names, he decided to dictate on what they will eat. You see in the Bible that they were given a portion of what the king had. They were given wine and their food to eat. But what did they do? If you read in that book, it says, chapter 8, Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food for permission not to defile himself this way. He says, we cannot have the king's food. Please give us vegetable and water. But then the chief says, well, if I give you water and vegetables, then you're not going to be able to look as healthy, and I'm sorry, I can't do that. But God intervenes. He makes the chief official to give them vegetable and water because they have to trust them. So you see the boys in chapter 15, become more healthier. They were better nourished than the other boys that were given wine and the chief's food. And as days went by, in chapter 19, you see when they were brought before the king, none of the other boys were found to be equal to Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And actually, when they were being questioned in every matter of wisdom and understanding, about which the king questioned them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters of the whole kingdom. And these are the people who knew their God. When they were there, they knew they couldn't have wine and the food because that would be unclean for them. And what I wanted to say here, most importantly, was King Nebuchadnezzar did change their names, but they did not lose their essence, which most of us, if you do not know your God, your identity will be stolen. Many of us, like I said, you ask your neighbor and say, who are you? What's your name? Well, some of you might not know who your names are because you probably try to find out who are you and what's the purpose in your life. And it's funny because for a long time, I never thought about it in any way. When sometime this year somebody asked me, what is your New Year resolution? I said, well, how we always say, well, I lose weight, I want